So, Dead Congregation played in Baltimore. You heard me talk about Metal Threat Festival and other neo Nazis and such that played. And, I gave a shout out to Andrew Lee, who said in his video that um, bands are just like too cowardly to say, yeah, we don't really support this because they know they'll alienate a sizable portion of their fan base. Um, and so they actually released a statement, Dead Congregation, and I wanted to check that out because it's like laughable. So let's peep this. So, Dead Congregation said, "We feel it's time to clarify our position regarding our participation in this year's Metal Threat Festival, especially in light of recent discourse. Here are the facts." And I'll just keep going. They said this was our third time performing at the festival. Previous editions had no association with politically charged bands, and nothing in our past experiences suggested this year would be any different. That is not true. There's definitely been sketchy bands that have played Metal Threat Festival. Um, I can't. I want to say Destroyer 666 off the top of my head, but um, anyway, beyond the festival itself, Metal Threat organized a 14-day North American tour for us. Tours of this nature require extensive planning and coordination over several months, involving local promoters, venue staff, crew, merchandise suppliers, and others who invest significant time and resources. Okay. Importantly, Metal Threat is also our official sponsor for U.S. work visas, which makes them our legal employer during our stay. This means our ability to act independently is limited by U.S. immigration law and the terms of our visas. So basically, what they're saying is it requires a lot of stuff to tour, which anybody who's played music remotely professionally understands. And also, apparently, Metal Threat were in control of their visas because they were like their sponsor in terms of their work visa to be in the United States. So, yeah. So, when we agreed to play this year's edition, we had no knowledge of the controversial last minute lineup additions. By the time those bans were announced, backing out would have led to serious consequences not only for us but for everyone involved in the tour. These could have included the cancellation of our visas and a potential 10-year ban from reapplying for entry into the US. Even if we had withdrawn, we recognize that some would still accuse us of acting too late or doing so purely for damage control. In other words, our reputation was at risk regardless of the path we chose, which is inherently not true. Um, I feel like the moment, and this is just me, because you know, if you know anything about me, you've seen my involvement with a band called Bestial Evil, and in the past, them being involved with members of a group, neo-Nazi group called the Wolves of Vinland, and like I quit that whole band, said goodbye to all that stuff just because I didn't want to be associated with Nazis. I didn't want to contribute to any work that had Nazis involved. I didn't want to support Nazis. I feel like that's at least me because I look a little different than the dudes in Dead Congregation. I'll just say that, but um and they seem to have some different stuff going on in their government. But I feel like it's very easy, no matter the consequence, to say no to supporting neo Nazis and white supremacy. But that's me. They said, given these circumstances and the fact that our performance took place on Sunday, a day untarnished by sketchy bands, as if the day you play makes a difference in the fact that you're on this festival, your logo is seen directly adjacent to the logos of white power and neo Nazi bands, right? We made the difficult decision to proceed. I feel like it wasn't that difficult. Um, Choosing to fulfill our commitments was not an endorsement of our band's ideologies. And that's something you hear bands say all the fucking time. And it just feels like a cop out to me, where it's like we're a non political band, yet we're going to continue to play with all these sketchy bands and play on these sketchy festivals. But that's not what we're about, though. We just like to take the money and the prestige of playing with these people. They say, let us be clear, we did not appreciate being on the same bill as a handful of NSY power acts. However, when contracts are signed and obligations set in motion, choices become limited. Accusations of being Nazis by associations are not only deeply offensive, but also entirely unfounded. I feel like it's not unfounded. I feel like when you're on a festival with that shit, especially. So listen, as a metalhead, you know, right? Especially if you're going to be in a band as backed as Dead Congregation, like we're not new to this, we're true to this. We've heard the rumors, we know what bands are what, we know what festivals do what. Like I just don't understand why the go-to move is to always play dumb, because this was my experience when I was finding out about the Wolves of Inland when I was playing in Bestial Evil, is that everybody wants to pretend like they don't know as long as the money is flowing and the exposure is happening. People are getting in magazines, they're getting reviews. Everybody wants to act like they don't know what's going on until somebody brings it up, right? They said our commitment to professionalism under difficult conditions should not be mistaken for tolerance of extremism from either end of the political spectrum. Oh, so we're both sidesing it. That's that, and this is where we start to get a little funny with our statement, right? Because the last paragraph says this is not an apology, it is not an excuse, it is not us bending the knee to the PC Inquisition or internet bullies who quote unquote demand explanations. These are the facts. And the fact that you're not even going to apologize for legitimizing um white power and NS bands is kind of crazy to me. Um and it kind of this whole entire thing, honestly, it definitely feels like an excuse. Cuz like I said, it would be very very easy for me, no matter what contracts I signed, no matter what I had going on, it'd be very easy for me to say no to something like this and then just say what the conditions are. Like, hey, we had no idea that we would be put on a bill with a bunch of fucking Nazis, and therefore we don't want to be associated with this. And now you're not going to see us play for the next 10 years thanks to these people. So, yeah. I mean, that's the route that I would have taken. But like I said, you see how I look different than them? Um, he said not them bending the knee to the PC Inquisition or internet bullies who demand explanations. No one's demanding anything. At least not me. Um, the fact that you're referring to it as a PC Inquisition is I'm not gonna lie to you, it doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence, because saying fuck Nazis should be the easiest thing to do in the world. It should be very easy to say fuck Nazis no matter the consequence. But hey, I don't get paid to go from state to state um, playing death metal, So we also had a statement from the band Ripped to Shreds, who called out the band Master, who also played here. I wanted to read their statement, but I couldn't find it on Instagram anymore. But it's actually in this Vice article, so we're going to take a look at that too. Says legendary death metal band Master has been called out by Ripped to Shreds for playing a music festival with neo-Nazi bands. Situation emerged on Monday with the Bay Area metal band posting on social media that they were pulling out of a metal show featuring Master, specifically to the Chicago-born death metal band playing the Metal Threat Festival in their hometown, alongside a band called Argoslint. And there's a couple other bands in there: Graveland, Grand Belial's Key, you know. But Rip the Shred statement is below. Refusing to play with a neo Nazi band like Argoslint that glorifies the black slave trade is the lowest possible bar, and Master still failed it. So we're withdrawing from Friday's show at Gilman, support to Bitter End Booking for doing the right, or excuse me, they're pulling out of their show at Gilman. It was 924 Gilman Street. It's a venue called Gilman. And they're saying support to Bitter End Booking for doing the right thing and canceling the show. We're still leaving Heavy Talent, but I would like to clarify that Heavy Talent only reps Sinister. The Sinister and Master tour was booked as a package, and Master booked their show with Metal Threat directly through Paul Dunsky and not through Heavy Talent. And see, that's the story with Dead Congregation too. Is like, you know this dude. There's no way that you didn't have a conversation at some point about what other bands will be playing this festival. right? And for me, from where I'm sitting, at least with how I like to write contracts and stuff, if a person was cagey about who they were booking, and I found out that they were booking on neo-Nazi bands for the same festival I'm supposed to be playing, that to me would feel like a breach of contract. But you know, Rip to Shreds went on to say that they are also leaving the heavy talent booking agency because they feel strongly that the company mismanaged the situation. In response, Master has shared some social media posts about the situation from other outlets on their official Instagram page and offered a rebuttal that noted they don't even listen to metal a majority of the time. So not only are they playing dumb, they're playing dumb so hard, they're claiming to not even listen to the genre of music that they make money going place to place playing, right? They begged our booking agent to get on this show knowing full well we were already scheduled to play Metal Threat, which I highly doubt. Obviously, they saw an opportunity to get their dog shit band some hype. We're out here working to support our families. That dude is home in his comfy shoebox apartment in San Francisco writing articles about how he's oppressed in the music business. We don't even listen to metal 98% of the time. Ridiculous. Like we have to sit there and like this loser and go through every band playing a 4-day festival and read through all their lyrics to see if they say things that hurt our feelings. We're working. So that's all the info. Do with it what you will, but I'll say it's super easy to just say fuck Nazis and go on about your business. And for me, if I'm a Master fan, even if I don't have feelings about them playing neo-Nazi festivals, now I'm looking at them weird because who doesn't look at all the bands when they're going to a festival? Who doesn't get excited about reading lyrics and getting immersed in the music of the bands that you like? And of course, we have some more micro macro aggressions about people claiming that oppression's not real, right? Oppressed in the music business. Like, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but racism is structural, and that includes all facets of American life. That would also include the music business. I don't know what you think that you're disproving or what you're saying here by saying that he's comfy writing about being oppressed. Like he doesn't walk through the world every day as an Asian man, right? And you know, everybody's working to support themselves. The idea that people do this just to gain hype is so absolutely ridiculous too, because clearly you thought the hype from playing the show outweighed whatever hype would come from pointing out that these people are Nazis. So that confuses me too. Just like it confuses me when these people go out of their way to hide that these bands are playing. They go out of their way to hide their association with the neo-Nazism and white supremacy. These bands, whatever, whatever. The guy from Argos Lent literally played in a ski mask to hide his identity, right? We're going out of our way to hide all this stuff and obfuscate it. But when people point it out, then we're talking about freedom of speech and so on and so forth. And the reality is that the United States government just labeled Antifa a terrorist organization, right? And we have troops in the streets handling our protesters with violence, right? We have armed troops in the streets, right? And yet we have the Klan that are also doubling as police officers. White supremacy has been acknowledged as infiltrating United States government and police departments forever by the FBI, but has never been addressed. Black people have never been given reparations. These things are just commonplace in the United States of America. And yet we're made to feel like there's it's a both sides thing, right? Like what Dead Congregation was saying, like both political extremes are equal when we have lynchings happening in the United States to this day, and the opposite end of that is like people knocking over statues. It's just it's extremely disingenuous. I'm extremely disappointed in both these bands, except I honestly don't know what I was expecting because, you know, just like Andrew Lee said in his video, and just like a lot of people say, and what I've come to experience is that this stuff is commonplace in the metal scene, um, and it's kind of what the metal scene is based on. I've said before that that conformity is like a crucial element of metal, and it just proves more and more true as time goes on. It's like me, if I don't want to get shot, I'm not going to stand where people are shooting, right? I don't know why you would vest up and grab your piece and go out to where the battlefield is and then complain when you get shot, right? The whole point of you associating with these bands is because metal is supposed to be dangerous, so you want that edgy feel, you want that vibe of offensiveness, and then you complain when people are offended, right? You don't want consequences for your actions, right? Congratulations, you offended people and they acted upon that offense. And now you're calling people wimps and posers? Like, what exactly were you trying to accomplish here? I don't know. It's just stupid. But thanks for watching, y'all. The GBK video is coming soon. I'm just compiling all of my memes and all of my information about them. Following that's going to be the Argosland video, just because that band sucks. And I'm tired of people pretending like they don't. And then I think I'm going to do Satanic War Master after those two, because that band is also really backed for no reason. Um, we'll see though. But thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you on the flip.